Okay, so hello everyone. So today's our topic will be, solving some complex rational expression. Okay, so we majorly focus on how we can actually solve the question of the complex rational expression, and in this chapter there's actually not really important property over here. So I'm just gonna tell you guys what is some technique, like how you actually solving those questions really fast, okay? And yeah, usually the right logic about how you actually solving those complex rational expression, okay? So we got totally 5 questions over here. Yeah, so we got totally 5 questions over here. So if you feel like some of the questions are easy for you, then feel free to skip it. Okay. Otherwise, I will talking about all those questions in detail if you don't understand it. Okay. So let's start with question 1. So you take a look about the question 1 and you see we got some numbers, right? We actually got some numbers. So obviously you know that the right way is we have to doing those calculation. We have to doing those addition and subtraction, right? So on the numerator we have 1. 1 is equal to 4 over 4, and then we have a plus 3 over 4, right? So so if you okay, so you don't have to show. So what I mean is that you don't have to write down all the steps. You can actually, if you know how to do it, you can basically doing this calculation right away. You don't actually need to show the details. But in this case, I maybe someone don't understand it, so I have to show the detail. So on the bottom part we have a 2. So we have 2 is equal to 8, and we got 2 multiplied by 8, right? So you can see over here we have a negative, we have a 1 over 8. So we are trying to make it become make those two terms have the same denominator. That's why I want to make the number 2 over here to make it become something over 8, and that's basically how you do it. Okay, so now we are ready to doing those subtractions. So we are ready to doing those addition and subtraction since we have the same denominator, right? So on the numerator we have like 4 plus 3, right, over 4, and on the denominator we have 2 multiplied by 8, which is 16, and 16 minus 1. Okay. So yeah, so after that it's getting simple, right? So we have to do in those addition first. 4 plus 3, so we have 4 plus 3 over here is 7, and then on the bottom on the denominator we have 8, and then 16 minus 1, which is 15, right? So now we finish all the addition and the subtraction. So now we are ready to actually to basically cancel this, to basically doing more simplification, right? So we are ready to doing more simplification. Okay, so basically the thing over here is that you put you basically put everyone understand it, right? So you got something over something, so you basically putting 7 over 4 on the right hand side, and then since over here we have division, so we have to flip it to doing multiplication, right? So that's why you can see over here I flip the turn. So over here, what we have is 15 over 8. I flip it, I reversed it, and then it becomes 8 over 15. So that's basically how things is gonna work. Okay, and then here we can actually cancel some terms, right? So we can cancel 4, and so we can cancel 4, and then 8. It just simply become 8. Just simply become 2. So our final solution for this question is just basically 14 over 15, right? Okay, so our final solution for question 1 is basically 14 over 15. Okay, let's move into question 2. So you look at it, you know this is actually, for question 2, you know it is actually a rational expression, right? You know it is a rational expression, and so you know you look at this, and then you should know that, you know, right away so basically you see, you know, like we got something on the denominator, we saw something on the numerator, and something on the denominator, right? And then those two terms are not able to, it's already in the simplest form, right? So it's already in the simplest form, so you should know that we have to flip it, right? So those are you know, those actions make sense, right? Because we already simplify everything, and the thing we can do right now is just basically flip it, right? So cause we cannot doing any operation on the division, right? So we don't have any operation on the divisions, cause those are variable, those are not number, right? Those are actually not number, right? So that's why, you know, we have to make the division into multiplication in order to do something, in order to actually cancel some terms, right? Right? If you know, if you have some number, if you're doing division, like, you know, or some number, you can actually using calculator to find it. But here we got variable, so we have to turn the division into multiplication in order to get a much simplified answer, right? Okay, makes sense, right? So you can see over here we already flipped it, right? Okay, so we I flip this turn, I flip this turn, right? And it becomes 2, but it just basically becomes this 2w over w minus 3, and then you can see we can actually cancel w, and then we can cancel w, and then we can actually cancel this 2, and then this 4 become 2, right? Now you know, now basically over here we actually already finished the question, right? So you see, you know, we cancel some terms, and the only thing for the numerator is w plus 3, right? And on the denominator we have 2 multiply w minus 3, so we have 2w minus 6, right? And then we basically cannot cancel any more terms, right? So we basically just cannot cancel any more terms, because this one is already in the simplest form, right? Okay, so this is the final solution for question 2. Okay, so let's move into question 3. So question 3, you look at this, you see, you know, there's many turns, right? So there's many turns. There's a turn on the numerator, and there's another turn on the denominator, right? So you know, we have to do something about those turns, because those turns are not in the simplest form, right? So in fact, the right idea over here is that you can actually doing some factorization of those terms. You can actually doing some factorization of those terms. Okay, so what we're gonna do over here is that we have to doing the right idea over here is that you have to do some factorization in order to simplify it. Okay, but remember over here, let's first focus on the numerator first. Okay, the numerator first. So you can see on the numerator we got a negative. We got a negative 8 over r squared, right? We got a negative. So obviously you know that it just cannot be negative if we want to do some factorization, right? It cannot be negative. So the first thing what you ever have to do is you have to get rid of that negative. And how? You just put all the negative thing into a bracket, right? Okay, that's the first thing what you have to do. And then you have to reposition it. You have to reposition it into the right order to make it easy to actually doing those factorization, right? Okay, and so now we have to do something for the numerator, right? So we have to do the same thing for the denominator. As you see, this denominator we have a negative 6 over r squared. So obviously you know that we just cannot do any factorization of this term. So you know that you have to putting out the negative first. You putting out the negative and then you putting the thing into the bracket. Okay, so now you can see we putting out the negative for both of the denominator and numerator, and then you can see negative and negative, it just get cancelled, right? Negative and negative, it get cancelled, it become positive, right? So now we are ready to doing some factorization. So basically you guys may say, how do I actually factorization this look really confusing, right? So let me show you some idea how you actually factorize this. Okay, let's first focus on the numerator part first, how we actually factor out the numerator first. Okay, so basically some idea about how you actually factorize this is basically let me actually use my eraser because I think it's a little bit mess up. So we got 8 over r squared, and then we have plus 2 over r, and then we minus 1, right? So actually let me move it down a little bit. I think it's kind of like lack of space. So what we got is this, and when we want to factor it, right? So basically the first thing over here is that we got the r squared over here. So obviously it makes sense. We have 1 over r and then 1 over r, right? And then since we got a 8 over here, and then the middle term is 2, right? The middle term is 2. So obviously it makes sense. We put 4 over here and then we put 2 over here. Up on this point, this makes sense, right? And then you see we have a negative 1 over here, right? We have a negative 1 over here. So we put so we have a negative 1 over here. So you see the middle term is a positive 2, right? It's a positive 2. We need something is positive, so you have to put negative 1 on the top, and then 1 on the bottom, right? So follow my guide. I think you guys may get it. Okay, so as I introduced this method many times, like on my previous video, right? You know that, right? So it's r to the 4th multiplied by 1, and then plus r to the 2 multiplied by -1. Now everything should make sense, right? Now everything should make sense, right? So you see this one is just r 4 over r, and then this one is actually minus 2 over r, right? It just basically become r over 2. It just basically become 2 over r, right? Okay, I think just some miswriting. So now everything makes sense, right? So now everything makes sense, right? You see the middle term is exactly what we want to get it, right? So now everything makes sense, right? So now you can see basically, like, right? So the middle term is the excuse me. Now everything makes sense, right? So basically, you see this, yeah. So this, this will be the right answer to actually doing some factorization for the numerator, right? Okay, so I have already show you guys about how you actually doing this part, right? So one second. Okay, so now we just gonna continue solving this problem. All right, we're just gonna continue solving this problem, and then we can write it down. R 4 over r minus 1 on the top, and then 2 over r plus 1. Right? Okay. Okay, and then we actually have to doing the same thing. We actually have to doing the same thing for the denominator, right? So I think for now you guys should be able to, after I tell you how you actually doing this with this method, I think you guys already know how to using this kind of logic. Okay. So basically the for this part, what you have to do is we have r over 2 and then r over 3, and then we need something positive, right? So we need something positive for the middle term. So we put 1 over here and then -1 over here, right? Okay, and then this is the right factorization for the denominator. Okay, so now this is the right factorization for the denominator. Makes sense, right? So now we finish the whole factorization for both of the denominator and then the numerator, right? So now you can see we can actually cancel those two terms out. Right? And then that basically leave the answer as 4 over r minus 1. Sorry, let me actually use an integrator. Minus 1 and then 3 over r minus 1. Okay, so this will be the final solution for this question. Okay. Okay, so let's okay, 1 second. Okay, so let's move into question 4. So for question 4, you take a look about this question. So like the first thing you notice is that you're looking at this expression. You see you just cannot simplify anything out, right? You just cannot simplify anything out of it, right? So basically the right idea is that the first thing what you have to do is that you have to basically solving those subtraction and addition. You have to solving those. You have to you basically you have to combine those two terms into one term. Okay, so the thing over here is that you have to combine. You have to doing those addition and the subtraction and then making those terms into one term. Okay, so what we're gonna do over here is that basically we write it down 3 over a plus 2 and then we minus 1. So 1 is basically a plus 2 and then a plus 2, right? Okay, and then on the denominator what we have is basically 1 is also a plus 2 and then a plus 2 and then we have plus 2 over a plus 2, right? So you may ask me why you want to actually make 1 into a plus 2, because we want to make them having the same denominator, right? So we must have having the same denominator in order to doing any subtraction and any addition, right? So we want to make them. That's why we want to make them into a plus 2, because if not, we are not able to do any subtraction or addition, right? So now we are ready to combine those terms, right? So we have 3 and then this term and then we go negative over here, right? So we have 3 minus a and then minus 2, right? Okay, and then on the bottom part, on the denominator, we can basically using a plus 2 plus 2, right? So we are doing addition over here, right? So basically now we have to basically simplify a little bit, right? So on the denominator what we have is a plus 2 plus 2, so it's basically a plus 4, right? And on the numerator you can see we got basically this, right? So 3 minus a minus 2, so it's basically 1 minus a, right? Okay, so we got we finished the we finished both of the simplification of the denominator and the numerator, right? So now we have to simplify furthermore. So we want to get rid of the division, right? So we want to get rid of the division, and how we get rid of it is basically we reverse it, right? So we basically flip it. Okay, so we basically flip it to make division into multiplication, right? Okay, so now you can see over here we can actually cancel some terms. We can cancel a plus 2, right? We can cancel those two terms, and then that basically leave the answer as 1 minus a over a plus 4. Okay, so that basically leave the answer as 1 minus a plus 4, and because you can see over here this is already the simplest form, and then we cannot cancel any more terms, right? Okay, but we cannot cancel any more terms other than this. Okay, okay, so let's move into the last question. So maybe it is a good time for you to actually pause the video and then trying to do this question back by yourself. Okay, see, pause the video. Okay, so hopefully everyone does get the right solution. Okay, so you see over here for question 5, we got 1 plus something, right? We got 1 plus something. So obviously the right choice, I mean, it's not that complex, right? So all you should know that is that you want to make this 1 into 1 minus 1 over y. 1 minus 1 over y, and then you plus it, right? You plus 1, you plus 1 over 1 minus 1 over y, right? So basically that's the same. So okay, so you basically want to simplify it, right? So basically, yeah, okay, so I think this question is not that difficult, right? So you can see over here we have 1 minus 1 over y, and then you have a plus 1, and the denominator will be the same thing, right? The denominator will be the same thing. Okay, so now we have to do more simplification. So we have 1 minus 1 over y on the denominator, and on the numerator is basically 2 minus 1 over y, right? So I think that's basically it is for question 5. I think that basically it is for question 5. So of course over here you can see we have 2 minus 1 over y and over 1 minus 1 over y, and we basically cannot we basically just cannot cancel anything more than this, right? Yeah, I think we just basically just cannot cancel anything more than this. Let me take a look. Okay, I think this is actually the final solution for question 5. Hopefully everyone does get the same solution. Okay. Okay, so actually, so basically today we just basically talking about some of the technique about how we actually solving those complex rational expression, right? And for those type of questions, just actually not really specific property we can actually using it, right? And I think among those questions, the most difficult one is actually question 3, right? The most difficult one is actually question 3. All right. Yeah. So basically, thank you guys actually watching this video. Okay, and hopefully you learn something from it. If you still have any question, please leave a comment below. Yeah, make sure you actually hit the subscribe button, okay, for more video. Subscribe to my channel, click the notification on, okay. I will keep uploading videos, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, thanks you guys watching this video, okay.